the Waltons, won't be seen tonight, so he can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about
The Omega Man.
Oh, yeah.
He's the last man.
Yeah, he is. Well, the last human man.
True.
Everybody became silver-eyed albinos, crusty faces.
Yeah. This movie's so weird.
Oh, yeah.
It is, you talk about a time capsule of the early 70s.
Oh, well, this is what's so great about it is I absolutely adore 70s sci-fi movies.
Oh, yeah.
I will stop and watch it if it's on. When we used to have cable, if this was on, or if Soylent Green is on.
Oh, yeah.
Any of the Charlton Heston or Rollerball.
Oh, yeah.
Or that's James Caan. But any of those like 70s dystopian future.
They're so much fun.
Oh man, THX 1138.
Oh, yeah.
There's just a huge subgenre of amazing 70s sci-fi that is unlike any other period. The 50s is very its own thing.
Yeah.
The 60s is kind of boo-boo-boo. But the 70s, man, you had Battlestar Galactica. Even like the Star Wars, shows, Battlestar Galactica, all that stuff. Just
it's a great time.
Chef's kiss.
Great time to be alive.
Yeah, it was.
Well, take yourself back to 1971.
Ooh.
February 28th, Evel Knievel sets a world record and jumps 19 cars on a motorbike in Ontario, California.
Evel friggin' Knievel. I know I say this a lot, but there was a time when a man like that could capture the entire attention of the entire country.
Yes.
And he would have specials like his Snake Canyon jump and his rocket car.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of the biggest television events in history.
Yeah.
Anytime he came on to do something, we all loved it. I had the Evel Knievel stunt bike thing.
Oh, yeah.
You pulled a little zip.
Yeah, and he would do the wheelie and then
It had
take
this
off.
like plastic, almost like a lawnmower.
It was like a ripcord.
Pull the ripcord, and it does wheelies and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, this man, Evel Knievel, it's just insane. The Simpsons do a really great parody of him with I forget the name of the character, like Chuck Granley or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember just being captivated, and we were all around the TV set watching him just jump stuff.
Of course,
jumping.
Everyone wanted to watch him die.
Exactly. He came close a lot of times. I think the Snake Canyon one was pretty brutal, the crash.
He broke every bone in his body like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like it was bad.
Oh,
yeah.
God, that's dedication.
But, he milked it, and he had it, and it happened. And it was, his movie is one of the single greatest, worst movies of all time.
Oh, yeah.
It's so phenomenal.
I can't believe they haven't made, like, a biopic of him.
No.
Recently.
Well, it's because of all the Super Dave Osborne. They were like, no, we got it. It's fine.
Okay. There needs to be. I think there probably is.
There should, yeah.
I know. Is his kid still alive? His kid was doing stuff.
I think so.
His kid's like 80 now, but it's like.
Yeah. I think so, but I don't know.
Anyway, man. Just
eventually we're going to cover the Evel Knievel movie, and we'll go deeper into Evel
just
Knievel.
The absolute just capturing of the world that Evel Knievel did. Just a stunt guy in a silly suit.
April 20th, Swan versus Charlotte Mecklenburg Board of Education. The Supreme Court of the United States rules unanimously that busing of students may be ordered to achieve racial desegregation.
Yeah, made a lot of people angry.
1971.
That's insane.
They still couldn't get this right.
Yeah, well, I think there's a few people that would like to go back to that now.
There's a few people that have few places that have gone back to that. Yeah.
Politics.
Yeah. In June 1971, The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty is released, which would eventually sell 13 million copies and spawn 5 movies with a new sequel trilogy on the way.
My favorite cut of that. Because, you had to change a lot of stuff to put it on TV.
Sure.
And the line, your mother sucks blanks in hell.
Yeah.
Was, your mother so sucks in hell. She so sucks in hell. Wow. I even said heck. Your mother so sucks in heck.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to the new, the guy who did the last Halloween, David Gordon Green, is doing the new trilogy of The Exorcist.
Okay.
I know.
I mean, I love the original Exorcist. It scared
the original
Jesus
is
out of me.
fantastic. Yeah.
It was like I saw The Exorcist and I've spoken about this before, but I saw both The Exorcist and The Omen way too young, and I was way too Catholic.
Yeah.
And I was convinced that I was either going to be invaded by the devil,
Right.
by the devil,
Devil.
and be possessed, or more likely, I would find a 666 on my head and prove that I am the son of the devil.
It has to be about
Jerry's still out.
Well,
Jerry's still out.
haven't shaved your head yet.
Oh, there is something up there.
Oh,
It's a 667.
you're just next door to the beast. It's fine. August 1st, the Omega Man premieres. Yay.
Excellent.
Yeah. So the Omega Man starts with Richard Matheson. Matheson was born in Allendale, New Jersey in 1926, but was raised in Brooklyn after his parents divorced when he was 8. He also had his first short story published in the Brooklyn Eagle newspaper when he was 8 years old.
Impressive.
Yeah. Matheson went to fight in Europe during World War II. He would later write a novel, The Beardless Warriors, about the experience that was released in 1960. After returning from the war, Matheson graduated from the Missouri School of Journalism in 1949 and then moved to California. His short story, Born of Man and Woman, was published in the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction Summer 1950 issue, the New Quarterly's third issue. It is the tale of a monstrous child chained by its parents in the cellar, written in the form of the creature's diary and using non-idiomatic English.
Nice. Sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds fun. Later that year, Matheson placed stories in the first and third issues of Galaxy Science Fiction, a new monthly. His first anthology work was published in 1954. He's released like 40 anthologies of short stories.
Very cool.
Yeah. Matheson's first novel to be published, Someone is Bleeding, appeared from Lion Books in 1953. It would later be adapted into the 1974 French-Italian film La Sang de Glace, which literally translates into Icy Breasts.
Icy breasts?
I swear to God, there is a French-Italian movie from 1974 called Icy Breasts.
You sure it was not a misprint? It's Icy Beast?
Nope. Nope. Icy Breasts. Yeah, it has to do with the book. I think it's a noir book with a femme fatale.
With really cold breasts?
Cold boobies. Yeah. Yeah. Matheson was gaining attention for his writing, releasing 2 more novels in 1953 and 54, but wouldn't be recognized by Hollywood until he released The Shrinking Man in 1956, which would be adapted into the feature film The Incredible Shrinking Man, released in 1957.
Cool movie.
Yeah, Matheson sold the story to Universal International Pictures before he finished the novel, with the condition that he be allowed to write the screenplay. He completed the screenplay and the novel around the same time. The film was directed by Jack Arnold, who had directed seminal sci-fi classics like It Came from Outer Space in 1953, Creature from the Black Lagoon in 1954, and Tarantula in 1955.
Tarantula.
Tarantula. The Incredible Shrinking Man would be his most memorable film, although Creature from the Black Lagoon has its fans.
Oh, yeah, of course it does.
Yeah,
And Tarantula is really awesome, too. And It Came from Outer Space is also a big cult hit. So I think all of his films are pretty well known in the sci-fi.
I don't
annals.
know Jack Arnold very well. This is, again, we're going back to the sci-fi from the 50s.
Right.
Which was all this kind of weird. It was almost more like theater plays being filmed.
Sure.
Like it was just a lot of sets.
But all of these films are classics from
Oh, no. I agree. Absolutely. It would later be made again, The Incredible Shrinking Man would later be made again into the 1981 film The Incredible Shrinking Woman, starring Lily Tomlin, Charles Grodin, Ned Beatty, Jonathan Glover, and directed by Joel Schumacher.
So weird. I forgot Joel Schumacher directed it. It's such
So did I.
a weird movie. It's like, it's kind of a cautionary tale about chemicals and stuff, because I think all these chemicals
Cause her to get
small. And Charles Grodin. That's really weird.
Charles Grodin. It's just, and Charles Grodin.
Ned Beatty.
Yeah.
It was a really good movie, and there was like, they thought she was just going to disappear, and everybody was sad.
Right.
But she didn't.
No,
But in the end, oh no, she came back to regular size, and then shloop, her foot jumps out of her, bursts out of her shoe, and now I think they were going to make the Incredible Growing Woman.
They did do an Attack of the 50-Foot Woman,
right? But it wasn't.
No,
but I don't think Incredible Shrinking Woman did as well as they thought it was going to do.
Right.
So the cliffhanger ending was never realized.
It's a super weird movie, but it's fun.
Great movie.
Yeah.
If you're a Lily Tomlin fan, watch it. She also does several characters in it too, not just the Incredible Shrinking World.
Right. Nice. Matheson's gambit worked, and he started writing films and TV. Unfortunately, it would be 7 years before another of his novels would be adapted to the silver screen. In 1964, The Last Man on Earth, starring Vincent Price, would be released. It would be adapted by Matheson from his 1954 novel I Am Legend. I Am Legend tells the tale of Richard Neville, a veteran in Los Angeles who, through being bit by a vampire bat while in service, is spared from an air-transmissible vampire virus that affects the entirety of the planet.
What's so sad is the rest of his brothers, the Neville brothers, they all died, and he didn't ever sing again after that. He never sang again.
In memoriam to Aaron.
Yes, exactly. I was trying to think of that song. The Neville. What did Aaron Neville sing?
I don't remember. If I heard it, no, go.
I can't
no, come on. I think that was close.
I don't know much, but I know I love you.
Was that was Aaron Neville?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it is now. So Neville works tirelessly trying to figure out a way to cure the virus, not realizing that the vampires have evolved and are the majority of society now, while Neville hunts them during the day.
Now, see, I think that is the more interesting story, is that the newer species, if you will, after this and world-ending event is evolving, and the guy that's trying to bring everybody back is kind of the bad guy.
Yeah,
because he's kind of passé at this point.
That's the beautiful part about this book and why it is my favorite novel, because it really is an allegory for World War II veterans coming home and not fitting back into society.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And realizing that all the people you thought you knew aren't really the same anymore. Something that would be, again, happening after Vietnam. But that was the crux of the novel, was that you think you're something, but everybody else can look at you very differently.
Well, sure. And it's also, exactly. I mean, you think you're the hero of the story, but you could be the villain.
Right, exactly. And it's such a brilliant book. Despite adapting his own work into The Last Man on Earth, Matheson wasn't very pleased with how the movie turned out, so he opted to use a pseudonym to receive residuals without having his name on the project.
It was Richard Matheson.
No, yes, it was a Ditchard Matheson. No,
Richard Matheson.
It was like Lawson something. But it was named after his mother and mother-in-law's maiden name or something.
All right.
This is despite the fact that it has a title card saying based on a novel by Richard Matheson.
Yeah.
So his name was on it anyway.
Game's up, buddy.
About it, Matheson said,
I was disappointed in the film. Even though they more or less followed my story, I think Vincent Price, whom I love, and every one of his pictures that I wrote was miscast. I also feel the direction was kind of poor. I just didn't care for it.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea.
The weird thing is that in the novel, obviously, Neville is supposed to be in his late 20s or early 30s, and at this point, Vincent Price was 54.
I'm the last man on Earth. Where's my nephew Jody?
It's not a bad movie. It's just kind of slow, and they obviously shot it very cheaply in Rome, and it's
like a Hammer film kind of.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. But, it should have been made in the 50s. It still kind of had that production value. And Matheson's World War II novel, The Beardless Warriors, was adapted into The Young Warriors in 1967, despite tossing the majority of the plot from the novel. His 1959 novel, Ride the Nightmare, which had been adapted into an Alfred Hitchcock Hour episode, was adapted into the feature film Cold Sweat, starring Charles Bronson in 1970.
That's right, Pally. I was in a cold sweat.
I actually watched the Alfred Hitchcock Hour episode that this was based on, and it was pretty interesting. It's not bad. I'd be curious to see Bronson in it, because it had some good twists in it.
I got a gun, buddy. I'm going to shoot you in the face.
So the plot of it is that an American living in France must face his past when his wife and daughter are kidnapped by former fellow convicts turned narco dealers he once double-crossed.
Oh, shouldn't have double-crossed him.
Yeah.
That was bad on me, Pally.
The movie was directed by Terrence Young, who directed the first two Bond movies, Dr. No and From Russia with Love.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not to check it out at some point.
Totally.
Charlton Heston had read the original novel, I Am Legend, on an airplane coming back to Los Angeles and was very interested in a modern adaptation of the book.
Very interested.
He was also totally unaware of the fact that it had been made into a film with Vincent Price.
Who's Vincent Price?
He didn't even bother doing any research.
He's never even played a Mexican.
Heston called upon his friend and producer Walter Seltzer, who in turn hired married couple John William Corrington and Joyce H. Corrington to readapt Matheson's novel I Am Legend, with Heston playing the titular hero Robert Neville.
Nice. I want to see a movie about that writing team in the 70s.
They worked on some interesting stuff. I'll get to them in just a second. Seltzer had worked with Heston previously on The Warlord in 1965, set during 11th century France. Yeah. Will Penny in 1967, a Western with Donald Pleasance.
That's actually a good movie.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. I've never seen it. Number One in 1969, a sports film with Jessica Walter.
Interesting.
Yeah. After The Omega Man, Seltzer would work with Heston on Skyjacked in 1972 with James Brolin. Soylent Green in 1973.
It's people. Soylent Green is people.
Well, spoilers.
Okay, sorry. Spoiled a 50-year-old film.
The Last Hard Men in 1976, a Western with James Coburn.
Oh, that was creepy.
Oh, yeah?
Because it was, there was this bout of impotence going around the West back then. I don't know. It's not in most of the history books, but he was the last one, and he pretty much kept the population going single-handedly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's kind of like the Genghis Khan of the, or the, what's that kid today?
Nick Cannon?
He's like the Nick Cannon of this time.
Or apparently, I found out recently, Sean Kemp, the basketball player, who apparently has 24 children.
Nice.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I mean,
Not
no.
nice.
It's a lot of kids.
He just got arrested for a drive-by shooting. Randomly.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Good role model for his dozens
24
of
children. The Corringtons had written 5 scripts together, but only one before The Omega Man. Von Richthofen and Brown in 1971, also known as The Red Baron, and directed by Roger Corman.
Yeah.
It was Roger Corman's largest movie up to that point. It had a huge budget.
Yes, until he made Frankenstein or whatever that
Yeah, something later. Boxcar Bertha in 1972, they wrote, starring Barbara Hershey and David Carradine, produced by Roger Corman and directed by Martin Scorsese.
Yeah,
It's one of his first movies, if I remember
it's
correctly.
his first.
His first movie. Okay.
No, I mean, Corman got these guys right out of film school.
Sure. And Boxcar Bertha, I've never seen it, so I have no idea if it's any good or not.
No, it's not.
Okay.
But I mean, it's better than most. I mean, it's still Scorsese.
Yeah.
But it's Scorsese. I mean, this and I forget the name of the one that Coppola directed. I think it was. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to watch their Corman films because it's their beginnings, and watching them direct B movies is really interesting.
Right.
Because it still has their sensibilities.
You still see their director panache, but it has that sheen of Corman on it.
Yes, that dirty sheen of Corman.
They also wrote The Arena in 1974, a gladiator exploitation film starring Pam Grier.
Weird.
Yeah. And Battle for the Planet of the Apes in 1973, the final installment of the Apes quintology, and arguably the weirdest of the 5.
Which one is that?
It's the one. So after the end of the second movie, they go back in time, and then the third and fourth movies are set during the 70s.
Right.
And then they fast forward again like 2,000 years, and it's this giant battle between the apes, the weird like mutants underground, and then some people.
Oh, right.
And then it ends, not to spoil anything, but it ends with the entire world exploding.
Well,
like it's
that's a perfect way to end the franchise.
Super weird. But it makes sense that they wrote it because of what they end up doing with the Omega Man and the fact that Joyce Carrington was a like virologist. So they also wrote a television film, The Killer Bees, in 1974, starring Gloria Swanson, Kate Jackson, and Edward Albert.
I love that movie so much.
Do you?
When it came out. Oh, everybody was so excited because the Killer Bees were coming.
Yeah.
For like 20 years, the Killer
They
Bees
just kept
were coming.
saying, they're coming from Mexico. They're coming.
They're coming. And we were all petrified of these killer bees, these swarming bees that
I
would kill
remember
you.
into the 80s, like it's still being a thing. Yeah.
And so we were all just waiting for the movie, and it came out, and poor Edward Albert, I think he got stung.
Oh, probably.
But there was a horrible scene. There was a great scene, but the bees attack like a bus. And they kill all these kids.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Bees were jerks.
I'll have to look for it on YouTube. I've just discovered all these random TV movies from the 70s and early 80s that are just on YouTube.
Yeah, we need to do some of those.
Oh, yeah. John Corrington was an English professor turned lawyer, and his wife Joyce had a doctorate in chemistry.
Interesting.
Ironically, for the Omega Man, Joyce immediately did away with the idea of vampires as being silly and instead made biological warfare as the cause of the plague that kills most of the population by asphyxiation and turns most of the rest into nocturnal albino mutants.
As it does. So it was a little bit of overkill, honestly. You got the, Russian Sino nuclear annihilation happening, and then somehow a biological agent got...
Well, that's the thing, is I think the missiles they were shooting weren't nukes. I think they were bioweapons.
And why did they have nuke clouds, mushroom clouds?
Because it's still an explosion. It was just full of stuff that makes you die.
It was full of cordyceps. That's why I look like mushroom clouds.
Cordyceps. Oh, let's not talk about cordyceps.
Cordyceps.
Yeah. So the Corringtons would eventually get into writing daytime serials. Search for Tomorrow between 78 and 80, Another World in 1980, Texas in 80 to 81, General Hospital in 82, Capital in 82 and 83, and One Life to Live in 84. They also wrote and produced Superior Court, a syndicated series from 86 to 89. They just eventually end up writing soap operas.
It's good work if you can get it.
Yeah. Shout out to Another World. That was my mom's favorite soap opera.
General Hospital was my sister's for a while, because I remember that. There's like Luke and Laura.
Yeah.
Was that General Hospital?
Maybe? That might have been Days of Our Lives.
No,
I think you're right.
I think General Hospital was Luke and Laura.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, Luke and Laura.
Yeah. Seltzer would hire Boris Sagal to direct the Omega Man. Heston had originally approached Orson Welles to direct the Omega Man, having worked with him in 1958 in Touch of Evil.
Where I played a Mexican. Yeah. Hola, everyone. You want some burritos? I'm Mexican. Get it? Arriba, ándale. Adios.
Despite him playing a Mexican, it's such a fantastic movie.
It is, but it's just like...
But it's really, you got to really go with the fact that he's a Mexican. Yeah. And I couldn't find any reason why Orson Welles turned it down. I'm guessing just because he was
too fat.
Drinking too much wine.
I'm eating wine and peas.
Yeah.
I have no time for that.
Seagal had a long history of directing TV episodes and movies. Seagal's TV credits include directing episodes of The Twilight Zone, The Cat, also known as THE Cat, which I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Night Gallery, Columbo, Candidate for Crime, Peter Gunn, and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He also directed the 1972 television adaptation of Percy McKay's play The Scarecrow for PBS.
All right.
He was nominated for 4 Primetime Emmy Awards for his direction of the miniseries Rich Man, Poor Man.
Rich Man, Poor Man. That was a big...
That?
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That was... Miniseries were huge.
Oh, yeah.
Huge back then. The biggest ones were like Shogun or The Day After.
Roots.
But it was an event that you couldn't miss.
Yeah.
Because most people didn't have VCRs or that kind of stuff, so you had to, like, sit. Like, I remember when Shogun came out, and I was in grade school, and the teacher's like, you should watch it for education. So we did. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You mean Christopher, what is it? Something Chamberlain? What was the name of the guy that was starred in the Shogun? Richard Chamberlain?
Richard Chamberlain,
yes.
Yeah. Next week when we cover The Night Stalker, we'll go heavier into TV movies. But the guy who directed Night Stalker did a 30-hour miniseries.
Good Lord.
Which we'll talk about.
It sounds like a series.
It was over
series.
literally it was 2 chunks a month long over like a year and a half. It was it was crazy. Seagal is the father of Katie Seagal from Married with Children.
Right on.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he was killed early in the production of the TV film World War III in 1981 in a helicopter accident in Oregon.
Horrifying.
He had just returned. It gets worse. He had just returned from filming aerial shots, his helicopter landing in the parking lot of the Timberline Lodge on Mount Hood, where they shot the exteriors of the location for The Shining in 1980. Preoccupied with his work, he inadvertently turned the wrong way upon getting out of the helicopter, walking directly into the rear rotor blade.
Oh, my God.
I always heard stories about how a helicopter could cut your head off, and I never believed it to be true.
Oh, yeah.
But holy crap.
So everybody ducks. But, oh, man, that is really distracting.
It wasn't the overhead one.
No, but
it
still.
was,
John Hamm's character in 30 Rock, lost both of his hands from helicopter blades.
That's right. I forgot about that.
So it's very common.
He died of severe head and shoulder injuries after emergency surgery 60 miles away in Portland. Astonishingly, filming resumed the very next day with a new director.
All right, come on. That's enough morning.
Yay, Hollywood.
Let's take 5 minutes.
How awful.
It is awful. Hey, it's called show business, not show respect of the dead.
Oh, my God.
That's horrifying. Can you imagine? I can't. Man, could you imagine seeing that? You would just be effed forever.
Because there were people there waiting to talk to him, and then they see him walking, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
Oh God.
Yeah,
I didn't want to. And the fact that he was alive,
Yeah.
it didn't kill him right away.
No, that's worse. That
Oh man,
that,
poor
like,
Katie Sagal. What a horrible way for your father to die.
Exactly.
She was probably a teenager.
Yeah, because I think,
Yeah, she's older than me.
she would have been. Yeah. I mean, yeah, she might have been. She might have even been in her 20s at that point.
Maybe, but still, it's like, what a horrible way to lose.
That's awful. Yeah. So obviously, Charlton Heston plays Robert Neville. Heston was involved in 4 films in 1970. Beneath the Planet of the Apes, the sequel to the smash hit Planet of the Apes, which he wasn't in for very much. The Hawaiians, based on the James A. Michener novel Hawaii, which was a box office flop.
Yeah, that book is 7,000 pages long. Is that the Michener book?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way to adapt that book.
Yeah.
It's so boring. Have you ever read it?
No.
Oh,
I don't
God.
read Michener. Because
Michener's a slog.
that's why I don't read Michener.
What was the Wings of something? Wings of Desire? Or Wings of...
Probably.
Wings of War? Winds of War.
Winds of War.
Winds of War. That's Herman Wouk.
That's Herman Wouk. Yeah.
Sorry. He's better than... James Michener. Good Lord.
But that was also adapted.
Somebody needs an editor.
We'll be talking about that next week as well.
Well, that was a good movie, actually.
Yeah. And then there was War and Remembrance, which I think was the sequel to it.
Yep.
Anyway, very long, very, very, very long miniseries. Julius Caesar, he was in an adaptation of the Shakespeare play with Heston playing Mark Antony, acting alongside Jason Robards, John Gielgud, Robert Vaughn, Richard Chamberlain, Diana Rigg, and Christopher Lee.
What a strange group of actors. I'm Mark Antony.
Yeah, he played Mark Antony like 3 or 4 times during his career. It's super weird. I don't look at him and think of him as a Shakespeare actor.
No. But look, he was huge, man. Heston was
yeah,
big.
I know.
He got nominated for Oscars, didn't he?
I think so. I mean, maybe for Ben-Hur and when he played Moses for 10 Commandments.
Let my people go.
I don't actually, to be honest, I don't know. I'll have to look that up. We'll talk about
The
it.
10 Commandments. Jeepers creepers, that's awful. And Ben-Hur, my God, I saw Ben-Hur at the Cinerama Dome before it closed for the renovation.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Now it's closed, I think.
Yeah, well, I think it got reopened by another theater chain.
Well, before they closed it to redo it many
right.
years ago, one of the last films they showed was Ben-Hur, and good God, that movie is long. It's like 4 hours long. It has an intermission.
Yeah.
There are 2 good scenes in that movie. That's it. There's the ship battle.
Yeah.
And then there's the chariot race.
race. Yeah.
That's it, man.
Everything else is
else is just 3.5 hours of just what the F. Movie could have been a short.
He also did in 1970 King, a filmed record, Montgomery to Memphis, with Heston narrating the film. It was a documentary.
Was it about Elvis?
Yeah. No, it was about Martin Luther King.
Oh, wait. Say that again.
And King, a filmed record, Montgomery to Memphis.
Oh, Montgomery to... Okay. Well, you didn't say Martin Luther King Jr.
That was the title.
I know, but the Elvis was also known as the King.
Sure,
and he
sure.
had a place in Memphis called Graceland.
No, it was about... That's true, but it was about Martin Luther King. People forget that Heston was a huge supporter of the civil rights movement. He didn't register as a Republican until 1987, when he denounced the Democratic Party and threw his weight behind Ronald Reagan.
Yes, he got to that age that many white men get to, where they've had a very successful career and people paid a lot of attention to them, and they commanded a lot of respect. Then they get older, and they don't have as much power or respect or fame, and they get a little angry, and they lash out, and they become dicks. And he became a dick. You can pry it out of my cold, dead hands. Which we did. I actually went to his grave after Charlton Heston died, and I pried that pistol out of his cold, dead hands.
Nice.
He dared me to do it, Adam.
He did. You don't back down from a dare.
Nope. He double dog dared.
By this point in his career, Heston was growing tired of being an action star. It was also around this time that he started to lean towards being a gun rights activist.
He was also extremely out of shape and older. He was 40-something.
He could run a mile in less than 4 minutes.
Oh, I did it in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. That's pretty good. Yeah. My flabby man boobs hit me in the face, too. I have 2 black eyes from my nips.
Yeah, he was like 47 or 48.
Look, I got to give that mother effer credit. Guy takes his shirt off like he's Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Where
like he's super cut.
More like Michael B. Eaton because he's got a little belly and some boobies. And his hair, he's just the hirsute man. People didn't care back then.
It was a different time.
That was in shape back then.
Yeah.
But, oh, man, shirt off with his belt a little too tight, his little chub hanging over.
Just a little high, yeah.
I'm so uncomfortable.
I don't want to get comfortable. I just want to take off my shirt.
He took it off any chance he got, man.
He did.
Any chance.
There was at least 3 scenes where he
More
actively
than
took
that,
his shirt off.
And anywhere. He's in the middle of those stories.
Well, I mean, he was looking for new clothes.
He didn't put them on. He just grabbed them and started walking around.
He got distracted by the fake mannequin.
Right. Yeah, look, even alone, I'm embarrassed to take my shirt off. So I guess maybe I'm just a little jealous.
Yeah, well, I'm right there with you. His salary for the Omega Man was $300,000, equivalent to about $2.4 million today.
Nice.
Heston identified with Neville, saying that if he were in a similar situation, he would pilfer paintings from museums to hang in his home as well.
Yes.
All the paintings around was stuff that was available at the LA, at LACMA, I believe.
nice.
Yeah. The ones that eventually all got destroyed by the albino mutants.
Those guys are dicks.
They were. The scene in which Heston's character watches Woodstock inspired Joel Hodgson to create Mystery Science Theater 3000 in 1988.
It's okay. Get it?
Which is weird. I mean, I kind of get it because he wasn't really doing the MST3K stuff during the movie. He made 1 or 2 comments.
Yeah.
But the entirety of the movie, Heston is literally a walking, talking MST3K.
Yeah.
Like, he's just commenting on everything.
Good movie.
It's really funny. Anthony Zerbe got cast as Jonathan Matthias.
Oh, my God. Anthony Zerbe was in everything in the 70s and 80s, especially TV. But that guy was like your seminal bad guy or cult leader, or whenever you needed a bad dude.
Anthony Zerbe.
Get them Zerbs.
He owes much of his career to Charlton Heston, with Heston suggesting him for the film Will Penny in 1967 after seeing Zerbe act in a theater production.
You should get Zerbe for Will Penny.
Get the Zerb.
What are you talking about?
That same year, Zerbe played a small role in Cool Hand Luke.
Oh, such a good movie.
Great movie. Zerbe was commonly seen in many TV shows like
Naked City, The Virginian, Kung Fu in 2 episodes, The Big Valley, Route 66, The Wild Wild West, 12 O'Clock High, Bonanza, Mission Impossible, 5 episodes, Gunsmoke, Hawaii Five-0, Maddox, 4 episodes, It Takes a Thief, The Chisholms, Ironside, The FBI, The Rookies, The Rockford Files, Dynasty, Columbo, as well as numerous others.
Yeah, he was in TV every day.
All the time. Always playing a bad guy.
He appeared in a number of films as well.
Papillon, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, an amazing movie. I think he was the bad guy in that. License to Kill, The Turning Point, The Dead Zone, Star Trek Insurrection, The Matrix Reloaded, and The Matrix Revolutions. Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was, I believe he was one of the...
hippies?
Yeah, well, the leaders in Zion. I think he was one of those. Yeah.
I hated Zion. Hated it. It was like a nasty, stinky rave.
It was.
Everybody just jumping up.
I'm sure it smelled terrible. Yeah.
Zion can kiss it. I'd much rather be in the Matrix.
Oh, yeah. That's true. I would be happily there with Joey Pants, just like...
dancing around with all these idiots.
Make me forget everything.
Please.
In 1976, Zerbe won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Continuing Performance by a Supporting Actor in a Drama Series for his role as Lieutenant Casey Trench in the private detective series Harry O.
Harry O. Yeah.
Zerbe's still around at age 86, but hasn't acted much in the last 5 years.
He's great. He is another journeyman.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite bad guys in the 70s. I always loved when he turned up. And it's just one of the things I love about the Omega Man is he was the news guy.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
And, it gives his character so much more depth because it's like, is he just trying to keep that fame or keep that, or is he?
He had to, yeah.
It's really an interesting character.
Well, I think it definitely supports the fact that they could have been, they could have been cured. Mm-hmm. I mean, the movie he ends up curing the kid, and then he's like, they could have been cured, but that would have done away with his power.
But they didn't want it.
Yeah. Well, he didn't want it. I don't even think he gave them a choice.
Well, I don't think they wanted it. I don't know. The whole I don't know, man. The whole process of them changing and stuff is so weird.
I know. It's all Joyce Corrington because it's very similar to the last Battle at Planet of the Apes movie with they had mutants with psychic powers, and it's kind of implied that Matthias has this psychic hold on people. When Rosalind Cash is turning and she just keeps going to Matthias and going to him. It's
he keeps calling her name.
Well, I know.
Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa. Yeah.
Lisa.
Yeah. No, I know. But they mentioned stuff about how they felt compelled to follow him and things like that. Yeah.
Could have explained it more.
You think?
I love how they're also, well, we don't know exactly. You could switch in 6 months or you could switch in 2 seconds.
We literally don't know.
We just need to put that in because Lisa switches in 2 seconds.
This movie, literally, we were rewatching it, and I feel like they had so many choices where they could have made better choices, and they always chose the wrong choice.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And I love this movie. Don't get me wrong. I love this movie, but it is such a weird movie.
Classics, lovable movies aren't necessarily good movies. I would say Soylent Green is a good movie.
Yeah.
It's got a lot more depth and a lot more interesting things going on. Plus, it's got
Edward G. Robinson.
Yeah.
Whose name you never remember.
I'm going to go commit suicide. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Going to go to the suicide room. Yeah.
That's an exact quote from the movie. That wasn't Jim. That was.
But Rollerball, those types of sci-fi movies had a little bit more.
Yeah.
A little less ham-fisted, a little more.
But this is the irony of the Omega Man.
Yeah.
Is that the source material has all that.
Look, when I first saw this movie at 6 or 5, I don't know,
Right.
stumbled across it or the old man showed it to me.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Of course.
And since then, honestly, my fantasy has been, F the world, I'd love to be the last person alive.
I want that 5th floor penthouse.
Yeah.
Just hang out and do my own thing.
Yeah, except I wouldn't be drinking crappy Cuddy Sark. The guy's got access to the best booze in the world, and he's drinking Cuddy Sark Rot Gut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I argued at the beginning that maybe that was all that was left, but then he actually goes to a bar and chooses Cuddy Sark.
Yes. Yeah, Cuddy Sark. You got good Cuddy Sark at this bar.
So Rosalind Cash was cast as Lisa. Screenwriter Joyce H. Corrington stated that in developing the script for the Omega Man, the character of Lisa was created due to the rise of the Black Power movement, which was particularly prominent in American culture at the time the film was made.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was the rise of the Black Panthers. It was the rise of, the civil rights movement had already been going on for a while. Yeah. But now this was like Black Power, where it was like, we're not going to ask your permission anymore.
No.
We're going to stand up and do our thing. And it's really amazing that they put her in this movie in 1971.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, there was still busing segregation and horrible.
They were still fighting over having to desegregate schools.
Because people were extremely afraid of black people. You know why? Because they thought that the black people would get power and then do to them what they did to them.
Right.
Because they were horrible people.
They were very mean to them.
Yes, Adam. That's a pretty bold stance. Yeah,
Yep.
They're pretty mean.
Warner Brothers originally considered Diane Carroll or Judy Pace to play Lisa. Pace was well known for appearing on Peyton Place in 1968 and The Young Lawyers for 3 years until 1971.
And Diane Carroll was a model and
she was huge.
And an incredible actor.
Oh yeah. Heston wrote in his autobiography that the Omega Man was Cash's first leading role in a film and that she was understandably
a little edgy
about doing a love scene with him.
Yeah, because he's 100 and she's 10.
He's 47.
Yeah, and she's what, 20?
Probably 24, yeah.
Gross.
Heston explained,
It was the 70s that I realized a generation of actors had grown up, saw me in terms of the iconic roles they remembered from their childhoods. It's a spooky feeling, she told me, to screw Moses.
That was her issue, was that she was like, I just look at you and I think of you in the 10 Commandments.
Hold my tablets. Daddy's on his way.
And then he held her tablets.
Oh! Were they icy?
Her only feature before the Mega Man was in Clute in 1971 with Jane Fonda and Donald Sutherland.
Yeah, we're definitely doing that movie.
Oh, yeah, yeah. This was also one of the first interracial kisses to be depicted on film. This was brought to my attention through Whoopi Goldberg, of all people.
Really?
She had a TV show in the 90s, and she had Charlton Heston on. And if you the clips on YouTube, if you can find it.
Oh God, yes,
it's amazing.
I remember this.
It's amazing because they talk about it, and she was like, was it a big deal? Like, did anybody give you any grief over, did this interracial kiss? And he's like, no, like they were jealous because she's super hot, like, typical Charlton Heston.
She's a young, pretty girl.
Yeah,
so everybody was
like,
jealous.
And then he was like, well, she responds back, well, it seems like it's becoming a thing again. This was like 1990, 1981. And he's like, oh, is it? Like, like I thought we were kind of past that. She's like, oh, I thought we were too. And he goes, well, they're definitely going to be weirded out by this. And then he just full on kisses her.
Yeah.
And
let me push myself on you.
The best part is that she is so surprised and giddy about it that she couldn't stop smiling, and she literally had to go to commercial. Like, she couldn't stop. She was just like, oh my God, Charlton Heston kissed me.
Oh, well, okay. So
it's a great clip to see her reaction, because it's so genuine, and just like, she's not upset by it. It was just like, oh my God, like this living legend just kissed me.
There was some really good stuff about Charlton Heston.
Yeah.
He wasn't that cartoonish goon that he became in the 80s.
No, the problem is he just loved guns too much.
Well, he also suffered from dementia.
Yes, he did.
And maybe it was earlier than we thought, and a lot of what he was doing had to do with that. Because dementia, a lot of the signs are anger and frustration. And
yeah.
Who knows? I'm just trying to give the benefit of the doubt.
Sure. Some of Rosalind Cash's television credits include
The Cosby Show, What's Happening, A Different World, Good Times, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Frank's Place, Kojak, Barney Miller, Benson, Rock, Policewoman, Family Ties, Head of the Class, Golden Girls, and L.A. Law.
Cash was nominated for an Emmy Award for her work on the Public Broadcasting Service production of Go Tell It on the Mountain in 1984. She would land a recurring role on the soap opera General Hospital in 1995. She never married nor had any children.
Huh. Like me.
Yeah. She died from cancer on October 31st, 1995 at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in L.A. at the age of 56.
Like me.
Okay, wow. In 1996.
That's awful.
That was terrible.
Way too... No, I mean, I probably will. But her... she's just way too young.
Yeah, it's 56 is too young. I'll be saying the same things about you, Jim.
Yeah. Had a good run.
Yeah. In 1996, she was posthumously nominated for an Emmy Award, Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series, for her role on General Hospital.
Wow.
Just like Jim.
Yes, yeah. I did a lot of work on General Hospital.
Yeah. So she was so good in the movie. She was so good.
She was great. And she was tough. She held her own.
Yeah.
And then it just got weird.
It was
like, there was no, look, man, she goes to the store. This is where they had a little issues with their storytelling. So they're going to get out of there. So she goes to the store to grab a few things, but she knows she needs to be back before dark. Now, she comes back late carrying the bag still.
Yeah.
Like she'd been from the store. And then all of a sudden we see her, and Gray Lady Gray.
Yeah, she's turned.
Or
she's gone, as they say.
Yeah, but it's like there was no... I guess they mentioned that everybody, was sort of infected.
No, everybody was infected except for Charlton Heston.
Right, and then they tell
he was immune.
And then they tell that's when they put in that ham-fisted dialogue. Well, it could be today, tomorrow, 6 months from now.
Yeah,
or
they don't
in 6 seconds.
Which, I mean,
well, the fact that the kid was like months changing, and he even had the white eyes and the white hair and the white skin, and
he was getting way worse.
He had all the goop sores on his face,
the weird lesions.
She had nothing. Nothing. And then within 2 seconds,
literally,
it was all...
she went to the store and came back and was changed.
Ugh.
I know. I don't disagree. It was ridiculous.
But they need... It's like they force these plot points without earning them.
Yes.
I'm looking at you married couple. Cunninghams or whatever your name is.
The Corringtons.
Yeah.
She's still alive, actually. The husband's died, but she's still alive.
I have issue with you, lady.
She's like 96.
Yeah. I'm going after her.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I'm coming for you, lady.
Bold, my friend.
Coming for you.
Paul Koslow was cast as Dutch, the very exuberant little friend of Lisa. I also do want to point out, sorry, I was going to say this earlier. It is really, really obvious that the Corringtons are very white, given the dialogue that they made Lisa say when she meets him after capturing him. Like, there was just so much jive turkey stuff. It was just like, oh my God. It was so just like, wow.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
There was a period of really bad white writing for black people. I think the best example of that is in Airplane, when they make fun of that by
by
having jive and then having
the subtitles,
right, and then the beauty of having Beaver the Cleaver's mother, June Cleaver, come and be the translator for the jive dudes.
It's yeah,
but yes, there was some.
This is definitely one of those movies that it was making fun of for sure.
I'm coming after you, honky.
It was turkey. So just like, okay, all right. So Paul,
calling me a turkey.
Paul Koslow, cast as Dutch, despite the role he played in the Omega Man, Koslow is most well known for portraying villains in film and TV.
Yeah, he was another guy that was like the leader of the biker gang or the leader of this gang. He just had that 70s hippie bad guy look and feel to him.
Yeah.
And he did it really well.
He did. He portrayed villains in Joe Kidd in 1972, Mr. Majestic in 1974, and The Drowning Pool in 1975. Two very great movies.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen Joe Kidd.
Joe Kidd's great.
Okay. TV shows he appeared in include...
The Rockford Files, Mission Impossible, Barnaby Jones, The Incredible Hulk, Quincy M.E., Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, T.J. Hooker, The A-Team, The Fall Guy, Dallas, and Hunter.
In the Highway to Heaven episode...
Hey,
oh.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh!
Yeah, my ears were burning.
What?
I heard you mention Buck Rogers in 25th Century.
Oh, yes!
It's Colonel Wilma Deering.
Hey, Colonel Wilma Deering.
Oh,
Haven't seen you in a while.
Popped in from the 25th just to say, oh, man, he was so fun to work with. He may be a bad guy on screen, but he'd laugh. Good guy. Anyway, Buck's in some shenanigans. Got to get back.
Well, thanks for stopping by. That was great.
Nice.
That was nice.
I always love a visit from her.
Oh, yeah. She's great. In the Highway to Heaven episode, The Torch, he played a leader of the American Nazi Party.
Nice.
Koslow found it tough to deliver his character's often bigotry-riddled dialogue, and during the filming of a scene set at a Nazi rally, the cast and crew were heckled by passersby since the scene was filmed on location in downtown Los Angeles with swastikas decorating the outside of a building.
Lord, that would be so hard. I got to tell you a really quick funny story. So when I was in the Groundlings, my teacher, I think, was directing something for Corman, or some sort of thing, and he grabbed a couple of the kids from the class.
Yeah,
this one kid that was like his pet,
yeah.
And the kid had to play a Nazi, and the kid had to shave two swastikas into his head, into his hair.
Oh my God!
And he had to keep them. Because this is a Corman movie. This isn't like a wig.
Yeah.
So that MFer had to keep the swastikas in his hair for like 2 weeks and just wore a hat, all the time. And it was just like...
Oh, my God.
Oh, it was
That's
so funny.
Horrifying.
Yeah. But he was Corman, so the guy probably got paid $6.
Wow. Can you just imagine being on this episode of Highway to Heaven, being like a PA and like having to corral like passersby, and they just keep screaming at you that you're a Nazi.
But it's Highway to Heaven. We're the opposite of Nazis.
We're the good guys.
It's Michael Landon.
But hey, good on America for, at least in the 80s, denouncing Nazism as they saw it.
Oh, the good old days when it was a no-brainer to denounce Nazism. And
we knew who won World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
Koslow apparently was not a fan of working with Charlton Heston on the Omega Man. He made a few comments during interviews that he was very difficult to work with. Which is not surprising.
I'm a star.
It's Charlton Heston.
Is this the Omega Man? I'm the Omega Man. It's not the little kid show, or whatever your name is, with your jacket, no shirt.
But he was great in this movie. I really enjoyed.
Of course he
him
was.
in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I probably not liking him made for a better performance.
Yeah. Kozlov would later appear in the Richard Matheson penned movie Loose Cannons in 1990 and appeared as the Russian robot pilot Alexander in the science fiction film Robot Jocks that same year.
I remember Robot Jocks.
This was my best friend in high school, Damien and I. This was our go-to movie for schlocky badness.
Well, that's a good pick.
It's so bad, but it's so amazing. His final film role was in 2004, but he wouldn't pass from cancer until 2019 at the age of 74.
Oh,
Yeah.
effing cancer.
He didn't work for like 15 years.
Well, maybe he had bad health problems for
that could
15
be,
years,
yeah.
or maybe he just didn't want to work.
That's true.
You know?
Eric Lanouville was cast as Richie. Lanouville joined the cast of Room 222 in 1970 during its second season.
That was a great show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was one of the first African American sitcoms. I think was it Marla Gibbs in Room 222? I think it was about
Possibly. Yeah.
I think it had to do
That
with
actually sounds right, yeah.
school, and
Yeah.
it was a really good show, and it was a groundbreaking show.
Yeah, it was a dramedy from James L. Brooks. I've heard it won a bunch of awards. It was
Yeah, much deserved.
He appeared in 3 episodes of Sanford and Son as Esther's adopted son.
I was about to do
Wow.
Rockford Files. Yeah, I remember him on Sanford and Son.
Oh, yeah?
Esther, that was Fred Sanford's nemesis.
Right,
His
right.
wife's sister.
Right.
And he always called her Battle Axe. Oh, look at that. You go hit with the ugly stick. You're ugly. Oh, look how ugly you are. And she'd be like, "Oh, Fred, you should die. Oh, hell, I'm going to die. Come to join you. Elizabeth, I'm coming. Oh, this is a big one. Big dummy."
In 1982, he landed the role of Luther Hawkins in the television series Sent Elsewhere. He stayed with the series until it ended in 1988.
He was great on that. And that was a great show. It was one of the first kind of different hospital shows. It had Howie Mandel, and it had a bunch of, what's that good-looking guy? He's on NCIS now.
Mark Harmon.
Mark Harmon. Oh,
Yeah,
handsome
Mark
Mark Harmon was
yeah.
on it. Mark Harmon has no shoulders. Yeah, I remember summer school. It really bothered me because I like Mark Harmon a lot.
Yeah.
But I remember he took his shirt off, man, and that guy's got the
He's just like
most
a head on a
diminished
stick.
shoulders. Yeah, he's just like a popsicle stick with a head on it.
Weird.
Yeah, that's why I hate
I
him.
don't remember that at all.
Hate
wow.
him now.
Yeah, you hate
After
him
I
now.
saw that, I was like, "You no shoulder having loser."
Wow.
I still like him a lot.
Mark Harmon's great. I love him because of Summer School. That's
Oh yeah, everybody does. I don't think anybody from our generation loves him from NCIS or JAG or whatever. I don't know what show is. Is
No,
it JAG?
Jag. Yeah.
Or is it NCIS?
I don't know. I
Are they
don't
the
even
same
know.
show?
It's on. They might be. They might have combined forces now.
I haven't gotten to the age where I'm legally required to watch CBS and NCIS, and
Yeah. Well,
I'm almost there.
I'm almost at the age that you hit a little while ago, where I have to watch all of Law and Order.
You better get to it. We're gonna take the rest of your life.
The rest of my life. That's true. Other features he appeared in: Black Belt Jones in 1974, Death Wish in 1974, opposite Charles Bronson.
That's right, Pally. I killed a lot of guys for revenge.
He was in Shoot It Black, Shoot It Blue in 1974 as well. A Piece of the Action in 1977. Love at First Bite in 1979. A Force of One in 1979. The Baltimore Bullet in 1980. And Backroads in 1981.
Yeah, I Love at First Bite was great. That was tan guy, Hamilton, George Hamilton.
Yeah.
Playing Dracula,
Dracula,
which is famously not tan. Very pale. So it was a stretch for him playing a pale character.
Yeah. Lanouville began directing in 1984. His first directing assignments were for episodes of St. Elsewhere. He has subsequently directed episodes of
L.A. Law, Quantum Leap, Doogie Howser, M.D., NYPD Blue, E.R., 413 Hope Street, Gilmore Girls, Lie to Me, Monk, The Mentalist, Invasion, Medium, Lost, Girlfriends, Everybody Hates Chris, Prison Break, Blue Bloods, Ghost Whisperer, Grimm, and Chicago Fire.
Yeah, he does a lot of directing now.
Yeah, well, he's great.
Yeah.
Great TV director. A lot of these guys pivoted. Bill Bixby, he pivoted to TV directing before he died. A lot of guys, it's, you grow up around it.
Yeah.
Especially these young guys like Ron Howard.
Fred Savage.
Fred
does a lot of
Savage again,
directing
too.
now,
Yeah. They grew up around it. they, especially TV, you get bored, so you watch the guys do it. And
because you're so immersed in it that whole time that it makes sense.
It's your life.
In 1988, Lanoville became the first African-American television director to film in Russia, as he directed a 2-part episode Mission to Moscow for the series Head of the Class.
I think I was there at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I can't get over the fact that Head of the Class just keeps coming up in all of our episodes.
Head of the Class was a juggernaut, baby.
It's just weird.
Howard Heston.
Yeah. In 1992, he won an Emmy for directing the episode All God's Children of the NBC series All Fly Away, which I've never seen nor even heard of.
I remember sort of it.
I don't. It sounds like it was about angels.
I don't think so.
I don't know. His most recently...
About birds.
Birds.
Yeah, about pet birds. And every time the birds, when they didn't get their way, they'd be like, I'll fly away. I will do it.
Great.
Ka-cha, ka-cha.
That sounds great.
It was excellent.
He most recently has been directing episodes of The Equalizer with Queen Latifah at the tender age of 70.
He's 70, not Queen Latifah.
He's 70. Yeah, no. Queen Latifah is my age, I think.
No, she's my age.
Oh.
She, because we came up together in the hip hop ranks. DJ Jibba Jim.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, you should hear some of my tunes. Some of my raps.
I don't think we should.
Some of my raps. No, I love Queen Latifah. I've been waiting to watch this show only because I keep forgetting that it's on.
Paramount Plus has this thing where they just don't advertise.
Yeah.
Like, there's a new True Lies series.
Yeah.
Did not see a single advertisement for it until randomly on Paramount Plus, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah. It's weird. The original Equalizer was great with that English actor whose name escapes me. And the movies were great with Denzel. But
the movies are fantastic.
But I've always loved Queen Latifah. And
yeah,
she has such an amazing just personality and just an amazing presence. And she's just so likable.
Yeah.
Absolutely likable.
Charming.
Like, I even watched Taxi.
Yeah.
I sat through Jimmy Fallon trying to act. And he did not do a good job at all, poor little guy. I mean, he's good at make-em-ups and impressions and hosting the show, as all the Jimmys are.
Sure.
The late-night Jimmys.
Yeah.
There's like 10 of them. That's why I'll never be able to host a late-night show.
No.
It's too many Jimmys.
Well, you are hosting a late-night show, don't you know that?
I wish.
It's required by law now that every Jimmy has to have a late-night show.
Yeah, mine's super, super late.
It's the 3:30 a.m.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's like 15 minutes long. Not a lot of guests. But yeah, she was even great in that movie. And that was not a good movie.
She was Bringing Down the House with Steve Martin.
She's amazing. Yeah. She's amazing.
She's fun. Yeah, I definitely want to see it because I love the concept of The Equalizer.
And look, Jimmy Fallon is a very talented talk show host. Oh my God, he's a good singer and musician. He's a funny guy. But I think even he would say that he's a horrible actor.
Yeah, he shouldn't be in movies.
He almost ruined that. And again, we're talking about that Golden God movie. What was that movie with
Almost Famous?
Almost Famous, when he popped in with his little.
I got to be honest, that was probably his best part. I mean, his best acting.
It was still him. It was just him with a mustache.
This is how bad his acting is. If you go to Universal and take the backlot tour, he does like the wraparounds now, and even those are bad.
So bad.
Even that I don't believe.
So bad.
Yeah.
But
he has it in Universal in Florida. He has his own ride. We didn't actually do it. We didn't actually do it when we were down there, but like, it's like you're in a car with him, like traveling.
God.
Yeah,
that sounds awful. A road trip with Jimmy Fallon just sounds.
Yeah.
Look, again, very likable, very talented,
he's great as a host. Sure.
Oh, yeah, and good dancer, good amazing singer. Like all the like karaoke stuff. He's great. I never watch his show, but what I heard is great. Sure. He's the only Jimmy I don't watch. Well, I don't watch James Corden either.
No, I'm not a huge fan of James Corden.
No, he just seems like a jerk.
He seems like he's like half a second away from just screaming at you.
Yeah.
And it's like,
seems like a phony, an English phony.
Plus, his name is James, not Jimmy. Yeah. So F him.
Well, I'm gonna do the Jimbo show and just shake it all up. No more Jimmys.
Really attract more viewers to your 3:30 a.m. late night show.
It's just me and the cat at this point.
The Jimbo Show.
The Jimbo Show.
Yeah.
I'd watch it.
Yeah, I would too. I'd have to.
Yeah, of course you would.
Lincoln Kilpatrick was cast as Zachary. He was Matthias's right-hand man.
What's so funny is this guy is so different in every other role that he played.
Yeah.
He's always kind of the erudite like professor type or cop type or
Lincoln Kilpatrick?
yeah.
Yeah.
He was so if you see him without his makeup, you'll instantly recognize him from all these shows in the 70s and 80s. But I was so surprised that that's who he was.
It's crazy.
Because again, he had the white and black people dialogue.
Right.
That's right, brother. I'm gonna get you, baby. And, it was just like, oh, you could see in his eyes, even though he had those horrible contacts on. And those contacts were bad, by the way. People's pupils were ups and downs and overs and outs.
When Heston opens up the kid's eyes, you can literally see his entire eye, and then the white kind of floats in.
Hey, could have done take two, buddy. But yeah, it's
Yeah. So he was actually encouraged by Billie Holiday, of all people, to begin his acting career in 1959 in the Broadway production of A Raisin in the Sun.
Nice.
In the 1960s, he mainly guest starred in television roles and bit parts in movies. His primary acting talents were showcased in stage and theater work, which he remained active in until his death in 2004 from lung cancer.
Oh, God. Cancer.
Yeah. Kilpatrick was co-founder of the Kilpatrick Cambridge Theater Arts School in Hollywood. He was also the first African-American member of the Lincoln Center Repertory Company.
Yeah, you can't tell by this movie, but he was legit, man. He was the real deal. And he was another guy, talent crush. Every time he showed up,
oh, yeah.
I'd watch.
You're on. Yeah. Yeah, he's... it's one of those, like, I hate it when these guys, like, their best work comes in theater, which is great, but it's like I'll never be able to see it.
Right.
Like,
because it's theater.
Yeah. It's of the moment.
But it's just like, look at him. He's such a happy, different looking guy.
He also usually had a mustache.
Yes.
Which he did not have in this movie.
Well, no. He just had a lot of white.
He was so white. Mutation was that they all turned white.
He was on some show with Lee Horsley for a while. And I think he played a cop. I don't know.
That looks familiar. Like
Matt Houston, I think he was on.
Matt Houston.
I think he was a regular on Matt Houston with Lee Horsley.
Lee Horsley. Yeah. Brian Tochi was cast as Tommy, the little boy that was saved by Lisa. He is best known for his characters Toshiro Takashi from the Revenge of the Nerds film franchise.
Yeah, that was it did wonders for Asian American actors back then. That performance was not racist at all.
Although he does have the most memorable line that I can't say.
Say it.
Hair pie?
Oh, gross. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 There's some rape. There's some pretty blatant rape in that movie.
There's some rape. The fact that they go and they set up cameras and steal
it
their
is
underwear.
Problematic
and
movie.
And then the fact that at the end with him putting on a mask and then essentially having sex with her. Yeah.
But hey, she liked it, so it's okay.
This was one of the first movies when I was growing up, Revenge of the Nerds, and I'm sure eventually we'll cover it.
Yeah, of course we will.
But I remember I knew that it had nudity in it, and I was young, and they would show it in the afternoons.
Yeah.
And there were so many times when I had to watch from my parents and just switch the channel before the boobs came on.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it had our buddy Ted McGinley.
It did.
It's the head jock.
Yeah.
Nerds!
So Brian Tochi also was cast as Cadet, later Lieutenant Tomoko Nogata for the third and fourth films in the Police Academy film series.
Yeah, that poor guy had to do a lot of broken English and play a lot of those
He's just like what's his name from
Watanabe?
Yes.
Getty Watanabe.
Getty Watanabe. Yeah, just like that. You got to go through these stereotypes first before you can branch out.
It's just not that long ago.
No. I mean, this is evidence from the Academy Awards this year and the fact that, Ke Huy Quan, had to play that part and then didn't get any parts for 30 years.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, his last role was Encino Man.
Which now has 2 Academy Award-winning actors in it.
Well, we all knew that was coming.
Well, yeah.
Poor Pauly Shore. When's he going to get his Academy Award?
Never.
He was really hurt, apparently. I didn't watch the Academy Awards, but apparently Jimmy Kimmel made a joke at his expense.
Oh, really? And he was hurt.
Because about Encino Man and hurt his fees. But I get it. I mean, why kick a guy who's,
I had to spend one day with Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
Drive him around L.A. We're shooting a pilot, and his car had broken down. It was this beautiful, like 65 convertible.
Buddy.
I literally drove him around in this like crappy van, and he was so bizarre. Just like he was nice,
Yeah.
but he was just so off. Like it was weird.
Louise.
It was just. But every time we were on set and he saw me, he'd point me out and be like, "Hey, that guy drives me around."
That's nice.
Like, all right,
look,
man.
I think Pauly would be a fun guy. You know, look, the guy grew up at the Comedy Store. His mom was Mitzi Shore, who was the godmother of every comedian from the 70s and 80s.
Comedian. Yeah. No, I know. It wasn't a bad day. It was just a weird day.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm less and less on like kicking guys when they're down these days.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
Like, I saw this thing, and I'm sorry to do a speed bump, but speaking of Ki Hui Kwan, I saw this beautiful video of Corey Feldman watching him win the Oscar, just breaking down in tears.
Oh, nice.
And just being so happy for his friend.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And people I think it's criminal the way they treated the Coreys.
Agreed.
That poor kid, you know, has been through so much and just was treated like garbage by the media and by everybody in the world.
Yeah.
You know, they had attitudes. You know, they were the biggest stars in the world for a while.
Yeah,
But they were also brutally abused.
Yeah.
And given drugs by their abusers.
yeah.
And you know.
And a lesson in believing the victim.
Exactly.
Like, he came out and talked about this.
Right, and was punished for
They were
it.
like, no,
Punished
come
for
on,
it.
no.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So that man, the fact that he's still alive, the fact that he's living a productive life with his wife and his kids and still doing stuff, you know, that guy is a resilient.
It's evidence from the fact that Corey Haim is dead. Like, I mean, it was so hard for them.
Yeah, it's brutal. And anybody making fun of Corey Feldman can just eat it.
Yeah, agreed.
Walk a mile in that man's shoes.
Exactly. So Brian Tochi was also, one of his most famous roles was the voice of Leonardo in the first 3 live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films.
Nice, where he got to speak in his real voice.
Yeah.
Well, sort of. I mean, with the, hey, what up, radical.
Leonardo was more educated.
Oh, he was more of the.
He was like
he was the leader, right?
Yeah.
All right, you idiots.
So yeah,
he was like the Mo. from Three Stooges. All right, you
Essentially.
knuckleheads, come on. We got some shredder to kill here. Leonardo.
Three Stooges meet the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That would be amazing.
I want it.
As a child actor, he appeared in an episode of the original Star Trek series, The Brady Bunch and The Partridge Family.
Nice.
His first feature was the Omega Man. I don't think he actually technically had any lines. Maybe one.
I really don't
the
remember
movie.
him.
He just remember him popping up from after Heston showed up, and then it was like all these kids coming out of the woodwork.
It's creepy.
And he popped up, and I was
Where'd
like,
they
it's
come
Brian
from, by
Tochi.
the way? Where'd all these
kids?
kids come from?
She found him, I guess.
Where?
I don't know. Around?
I don't get. And
They
how
didn't
are these people
explore
still
any of
alive?
this.
Yeah,
I
there
don't
was
know.
like. There
They
needed to
were
be a little
still
bit more
alive
lore.
because it didn't affect. Look, I can firmly believe. Well, if it was a virus, I could firmly believe, because then you go like The Stand, where obviously some people are going to be naturally immune, or it'll affect them less.
But it was a neurological bioweapon.
This was a bioweapon, so it doesn't make sense.
No,
I agree.
Unless these kids were in some shelters, maybe they were in some school shelter.
They
or
had
something.
something that allowed them to A, survive, and B, transform into the albino mutants very slowly. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I am not defending the writing of this movie.
Still, love the movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. You just can't go too deep into it because it all falls apart.
Yeah.
So his first feature was the Omega Man. He has done extensive VO work for animated TV series, features, and video games.
Nice.
So the film takes place in Los Angeles, and as part of the plot, the city is supposed to be void of human activity except for Neville.
In the book, does it take place in New York or Los Angeles?
Los Angeles.
Really?
That was also part of the allegory in it, is that because at that time in the 50s, after World War II, LA just exploded.
Oh, yeah.
And
there's all these single-family homes that
they were
from
building
the GI Bill.
houses everywhere, and the idea was that these veterans would come home, and you literally wouldn't know who your neighbors were.
Right.
And so it was like, it just was different from the way it was before.
Plus, a lot of black
Yeah.
GIs were getting homes in Los Angeles,
yeah.
and it was a very good time for people after the war. It was a boon economically,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was the best time for people to get new homes and economically for this country. It was
great. Yeah.
Never stop taxing the rich, Adam.
So several tricks were used to make the city appear deserted. This was accomplished in part by simply filming on a Sunday morning in the center of the business district, which in late 1970 was essentially devoid of pedestrian movement early on weekend mornings.
Man, back when L.A. was just not that big.
I know. It was big, but not big.
Well, there wasn't a lot of people living in it.
Yeah.
When I moved here, there wasn't as many people there.
Right.
It was like a third of the population.
Wow.
About 2/3 probably.
Probably 2/3, yeah. Despite careful planning by the film crew, bystanders were captured on the film in the distance, and moving cars appear briefly in the background during some scenes.
Oh yeah, I always look whenever I watch that movie. I always look like
I looked too, and I didn't see anything.
No, it's there's a lot to look at, but
yeah.
I mean it's done very well for being practical.
I was more distracted by when they did still frames. That was supposed to be like an establishing shot of like something. It was like just put a pan on it or something so it looks like it's moving because it was so obviously just a still frame.
But even those type of pans look really artificial.
I know. But yeah. This was the only adaptation of I Am Legend to actually be set in Los Angeles, although The Last Man on Earth is up in the air whether or not doesn't ever specify.
Right.
The movie was released to mixed reviews. Roger Ebert awarded 2 stars out of 4 and found the mutants
a little too ridiculous to quite fulfill their function in the movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not wrong.
No, they are a little bit ridiculous. But,
Yeah.
I mean, the whole movie is a ridiculous 70s love ode to the 70s.
You buy the conceit or you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's it. Yeah.
It's a silly, fun movie.
Yeah. Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune gave the film 1 star out of 4, writing that director Boris Sagal
Must have resembled a juggler trying to keep 4 dramatic balls aloft. About midway through the film, the balls started bumping into each other. Seagal began to stumble, and by the time the crew was completing the final scene, Seagal was on the floor with the balls bouncing wildly away from his grasp.
I'm going to give that review 2 thumbs down for being stupid.
Do you know how proud he was of that analogy?
Honey, look at this. You remember I really wanted to put balls into my writing? Look, I put a lot of balls in it. 4 balls.
He likes juggling.
He likes balls.
Yeah. As with The Last Man on Earth, the Omega Man wasn't to Richard Matheson's liking. On the other hand, it didn't provoke much of a reaction from the author either. He said,
"The Omega Man was so removed from the book that they didn't even bother me." Well, yes. I mean, it
makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, whatever. It stands on its own.
If it's
its own
so
thing.
away from whatever you wrote, then
Yeah.
how can it bother you?
No, whatever. I mean,
And it's not even the same title, so it's basically a completely different.
he's still getting paid for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
It's family.
Well, now, yes. Director Tim Burton said in an interview for his 2009 Museum of Modern Art exhibit that,
If I was alone on a desert island, I'd probably pick something that I could relate to. Probably the Omega Man with Charlton Heston. I don't know why. That is one of my favorite movies, but it is.
in another interview, Burton remarked that no matter how many times he has seen it, if it is on television, he will stop to watch it.
Yeah, it's because he watched it as a kid. It's those movies that get into your brain as a kid.
Yeah.
And same with me. Like, I'll watch this movie anytime.
Yeah.
We make fun of it, and it's not a great movie, but to me, as a kid, I loved it. And I played Omega Man.
Yeah.
I was a weirdo, man. I'd put a little scarf on, and I'd play Soylent Green. Running around the house. It's people!
super weird. That's
Yelling at
super
my
weird.
mom, it's people! And I'd have her give me little, some sort
Little
of
squares
of green somethings that make it look like Soylent Green. I was so weird. I don't know how my parents put up with it.
So Burton said that when he originally saw the Omega Man, it was the first instance that he recalls seeing the use of certain types of cheesy one-liners in film. The film is full of irony-tinged one-liners that are spoken in a manner to elicit a comic response. Burton compares these to the famous one-liners in Arnie Schwarzenegger's film career, such as,
I'll be back.
Burton would work with Charlton Heston on his version of Planet of the Apes in 2001.
People! The apes are people!
So the movie would get remade in 2007 as the Will Smith star I Am Legend. A sequel to this version of the movie is apparently in the works,
Yeah, I wouldn't.
despite the fact that the theatrical version literally killed the Will Smith character. They actually had a different ending to I Am Legend where he survived, which was on the director's cut.
Right.
And apparently they're following that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Michael B. Jordan and him, I think, that's starring in it. I think, let's just have Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Will Smith did his part.
Yeah.
Let's not throw the baggage on that movie. We don't need it. We don't need
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Will. You
Yeah.
slapped your way out of being in that movie, in my opinion.
There was another adaptation of I Am Legend, although it doesn't credit the book or Matheson. The 2007 mockbuster I Am Omega from the Asylum to cash in on the apparent success of the Will Smith movie. The film starred Mark Dacascos, the martial artist.
Oh, yes. The martial artist, Mark Dacascos.
Yes. Yes, I did see it, and yes, it was very, very bad.
Wait, Asylum did a really bad made-for-TV ripoff movie? I
Yeah.
don't believe it.
So Richard Matheson still hasn't seen. I mean, obviously he's passed now, but like at the time when the Will Smith movie came out, he was like, it's still not the movie I want the book
No,
to be.
it was thin.
He wanted Harrison Ford and I believe Martin Scorsese to do I Am Legend, to adapt it.
That would be absolutely ridiculously amazing.
Yeah.
You know, no offense to Will Smith, but I didn't look. He's a very charming man, but I didn't like that movie. I didn't care about him. I cared about the dog.
It was fine.
The effects were horrible. It was so the vampires were so cheesy and looked so CG.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just
I didn't. The lead singer from Faith No More did all of the vocalizations for all of the vampires or whatever the hell they're supposed to be, ghouls. So I always appreciate that. I didn't. It's fine. I mean, from the get-go, I was annoyed by the fact that it was set in New York.
yeah.
But granted, it's still better than what was going to happen, which was going to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, which I read the script. It was by the guy who wrote the original X-Men movie. Or no. I think X-Men Last Stand. Anyway, he was really big at the time, and he wanted to do this movie as a huge action movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger that literally ended with him on a boat sailing away from New York and like surviving. And it was just, the whole thing was so awful.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's be honest. The I Am Legend, it spurred a whole genre of films and books and TV, the post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
And so much is borrowed from the book, mostly.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of the lore of this genre. And whether it's zombies or vampires or
Yeah.
strange albino nighttime weirdies, if it's done as allegory, it's interesting. If it's done with something underneath, I just don't think that the Will Smith version had any depth to it, really.
No, it tried, but it didn't. No.
You know, and any movie that kills a dog, F it.
I agree. I'm not a big fan of that.
I don't
Although
know.
it's funny that you bring up zombies because George Romero has called the Vincent Price movie Last Man on Earth the inspiration for doing Nightmare on Elm Street, for doing Night of the Living Dead.
Really?
And Matheson has come out saying that Night of the Living Dead was the closest to what he wanted a movie version of I Am Legend to be.
Really?
Yeah, like that would be how he would imagine the adaptation happening.
Oh, it would have been great to see a version directed by Romero.
Oh yeah, he would have been great.
Now I'm just going to bum out about the Harrison Ford.
I know.
Martin
He would be
Scorsese
so
version.
great if it was done in like 1980. Like it would have been so perfect.
Even 90, you know?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the guy he still looks good, but I mean, you know, he didn't really start showing his age until his mid-60s.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would have been great. And he could play a scientist. That's the thing about Ford, man.
Yeah.
He's an everyman, but he also could play a scientist. He's played doctors, he's played lawyers, he's played Indian chiefs.
It's believable,
No,
yeah.
He's no Indian chiefs, but he just is such a good actor, and he's somebody that I could watch by himself
Yeah.
for 2 hours.
Well, and this is the thing is that I said this. I've been saying this for years, ever since I first read the book. That the perfect adaptation of it would be an extremely low budget movie.
Let's do it.
Like it'd have to be very low budget.
When does it become public domain?
God, it's got to be close. I mean, unless it got renewed, I'll have to look into that because it's got to be close. I mean, well, no, it's going to be like another 20 years because I think stuff from 29 just went into the public domain.
Yeah, well, we'll do the Asylum thing.
I don't know how they get away with that stuff. Like, I don't know how they do that.
Because it's just different enough, either by parody laws or by just making it different enough.
It's literally the book. Technically no, it's a remake of the Omega Man,
Right.
really above anything else. But it's so awful.
Well, look, I love the 70s. You know that's
Yeah.
my very favorite decade. And I love sci-fi from the 70s. And I love greasy, sweaty, losing his hair, a little bit of chubby, crazy giant choppers,
Yeah,
Charlton Heston.
yeah.
There's just something about him in the 70s that was just glorious.
We didn't even talk about the fact that he survived a helicopter crash.
Oh my God!
How did he
Okay.
do that?
Yes, the helicopter, the copter crashes, explodes.
Huge explosion.
He comes crawling out looking like Bugs Bunny that
like-
just got blown up in a cannon.
And he's like 3 feet away.
Yeah, his clothes are just shredded.
Yeah.
He's got a couple little blood spots,
But he's fine.
but he's fine enough to jam the
The bendy syringe into
Yes.
his leg.
yes, the plastic syringe, and got it into his leg. Is that where you?
Yeah, he put it in his leg.
Yeah, but is that where you? I've never had
No,
an injection in a
no.
leg before.
You just have to find a vein, I think.
He went through his pants. He's got like 80 different rips in his pants to go through, but he still chooses to go through the
he
pants.
had to inject it into the.
Polyester?
There was like a thing underneath that did the. So he could actually inject it in without injecting it himself. So like it was a pocket that was inside his pants.
What do you mean for the special effects?
Yeah.
Of course. But I'm just saying, they did have telescopic needle technology back then.
I know.
Where it looks like it's going in, but it's not.
But then I look. The movie obviously made bad choices.
There's nothing funnier than him crawling out of that wreckage with his clothes shredded like he's a cartoon.
Vaccine. I need the vaccine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so great.
But so great. But
I
look,
love this movie. It is not a great movie, but it is so much fun.
this is definitely the kind of movie that you fall in love with as a child, and it sticks with you because you fell in love with it as a child. For me, at least.
Yeah.
And it's also one of those movies that if you're like, oh my God, you want to show it to a friend or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or something, you're like, you got to see this movie. It's such a great movie. They're not going to like it, probably. They're not going to probably have the same reaction that you did.
No.
But whatever. It's not for them. It's for us. And
God,
there's no shame in loving it.
We didn't even talk about how weird the score is.
Oh, yeah.
It's so inappropriate at certain times.
Well, yes. It's very upbeat during death scenes.
After he died, it was like bong 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 bong.
Yes,
Like,
as he
hey.
becomes God. I mean, the God allegory at the end is super
Strong.
ham-fisted. Are you God?
That was all Heston, by the way.
That's right, I am God.
Yeah.
I'm going to die as a crucified. Arr.
He saved the world.
He did. There's 18,000 gallons of blood in that.
Except for the fact that nobody else knew how to make that serum.
The serum was already made.
Yeah, but they could only use it for so long, and then I guess they had to just keep cycling the blood through each other.
I don't know. It seems very thin. I don't think that they were going to make it to Montana.
Again, you can't go too deep into this movie.
And did they were able to save Rosalind Cash, right?
They
Or
took her with them, so I assume.
So they were going to put. But that's where all the serum's going to go.
Why didn't Matthias, he won? Why didn't he take her with them, or why didn't she go with them?
I thought, didn't he die?
No. At the end?
I thought, no, I guess not.
No, because he threw the thing and stabbed him, and then
Just walked away.
he walked away.
I'm going back.
I win.
Yes.
I don't remember him dying. Did he die?
I don't know.
No, because
man.
Zachary died. He got shot, and because he tried to infiltrate inside. But
Right.
I don't think Matthias did. Wow, we literally just watched this.
I know. That's how confusing this movie is. But yeah.
Anyway,
But
all
look,
right.
if you love cheesy 70s movies, if you love cheesy sci-fi, and you want to see somebody chew the scenery, spit it out, chew it up again, watch this movie. And I say this with love because it is, they don't make movies like this anymore. Even there's a charm to the bad movies of the 70s
Yeah.
that I think we don't have now because I think people were really trying.
Yeah.
Even though the movies were bad, they were still really trying. And I think a lot of the rip-offs
Yeah.
today, like the Asylum stuff, they're not trying. They're just trying
it's just
to get it out in
churn,
time.
churn. Yeah.
So there is a definite, little engine that could. I think I can.
Yeah.
Aspect to these movies, but look, this Soylent Green, Rollerball,
Yeah.
even
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes, of course. Even like 2001, The
Yeah.
Space Odyssey. All these movies kind of fit into the same genre of this 70s sci-fi revolution.
Mm-hmm.
And what made these movies a lot of fun was like the ham-fisted social issues that they tried to jam in there.
Yeah.
And all of the things that they did to it just makes it such a time capsule of the time.
Right.
Because, the fact that he's just popping 8 tracks in.
Yeah.
And that's all there is 8 tracks. Well, he's got a record player too, but mostly just 8 tracks.
Yeah.
Because that was the technology at the time. It'd be like making a movie and everybody's watching laser discs for the rest of time. But it's a time capsule. Watch it. It's the best way to start Richard Matheson Month because it's his most famous story.
Yes.
In terms of, being made so much.
Yeah, it's been adapted 4 times.
Where people mostly know him.
Yeah.
Do yourself a big favor. Read the book.
Yes, definitely read the book.
It's a great book.
So good.
And if you got time, watch the first one.
You can
with Vincent
totally
Price.
you can watch The Last Man on Earth is out of copyright now, so it's all over YouTube.
Yeah.
There's like a 4K version that's on. There's a colorized version. I recommend it. It's a little slow, but it's good. It's
got
definitely
Vincent Price.
to me is the closest to the book.
Yeah.
But it was just made on a very low budget.
But it's a great, fun 70s time.
It's
baby.
great. It was
You
great.
should watch it. And we got what are you coming up?
Oh,
next week?
next week we're going to be doing The Night Stalker. First of our TV movies we'll be covering at some point. Yeah. Night Stalker, I'm super excited. I haven't seen it in a long
Same.
time.
Yeah, it's been decades since I've seen it.
And it's huge. We'll talk more about Matheson and his TV work and all that stuff.
Fascinating dude.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
And this is Adam's birthday month, so he insisted that we do Matheson.
Yes.
Just like I insisted that we did Steve Martin and Martin Short.
I love Matheson. All right, we'll be back next week.
Soylent Green is people.
About it, Matheson said...
What does he sound like? Is he British? Is he American?
No, he's American.
Okay.
I was disappointed.
He was from Jersey originally, so I mean I don't know how much of a Jersey accent.
I
he had.
was disappointed in the film, even though they more or less followed my story. I think Vincent Price, whom I love, in every one of his pictures.
Wait, hold on.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Good times. Already in progress.